Hi, Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert. And I'm really enjoying this series. It's focused on you asking a question on credibility. And so we ask a question. There's something new. Now, today, I actually can't include video or audio of the person, but something we're doing new, which I absolutely love, is having you ask the question in video or audio form. And then when it gets produced, we'll include your question as part of the series. So please ask your question. Would love to include it. This particular one, for obvious reasons, is not one that we would want to include the person. And so, anyhow, I'll get to answering the question. I'm just reading it over again just so I can make sure I say it right. Um, yeah. So here's a question. Thanks for asking. How do you work for somebody who has proven to lack integrity? Now, for me, if you've looked at the 10 components of credibility, the 10 values associated with credibility, integrity is the only value that's listed twice. So you could say it's 20% important. I'm going to say integrity is one of those things for me that has such a strong appeal to it. And there's a couple elements of integrity. So in the credibility series, in that definition, under the specific area of being trusted, it's your external integrity. And then under the area of being known, it's your internal integrity. I'm going to make an assumption that in this particular case, that both the external integrity, or it could just be external integrity, but if it's external integrity, they probably don't have internal integrity either. All right, so the question is, how do you work with somebody who is proven to have no integrity? Well, first answer is don't, or if you can, I know this is bad. So if there's a way in which you can leave, you can do something else, you should, right? I would not want to work for somebody who was not credible. Working the a lot of when we're working for somebody else, a lot of the self-esteem, a lot of the value, a lot of the benefits that we take away, a lot of our self-worth that we take away is from our immediate manager. If our immediate manager does not have integrity, the opportunity for you to do what you do and love what you do and get rewarded for it emotionally in the right way, that's not going to be very high. And I am a big fan of doing what you love. And therefore, you never, when you do that, you're never actually working another day in the rest of your life. You're just loving what you do. So, if possible, find a way to navigate to somebody else in the company or another place to work. Okay. Let's assume that in the short term that's not possible. I would absolutely still put that on the plan, because if every day you're going to work and you're really not liking what you're doing, it is time to find another place or another position inside the company. All right, let's say that's not possible. And you're working with somebody who has shown no integrity or lack of integrity. So first, it depends on whether or not it's lack of external integrity or lack of internal integrity. And so we'll try to cover a little bit on both sides. The thing is, every time, so let's just talk about when you're in a room with them, and you're in a room with them privately. Every time they make a promise or a statement, you need to document it down, and then create a email or correspondence afterwards. We talked about the following. This is what we came to. This is what we're going to do by when. Do you agree that this is what we discussed? So if somebody is lacking integrity, you can be their accountability partner. You could help them have integrity by sometimes people have integrity. Let's give the benefit of the doubt because they just don't remember. They don't document. They move on to the next thing. They just completely forget what they said. And so it could be, if we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, it could just be absent mindedness or just forgetting. Well, you be their accountability partner and you make sure they stay on that level of integrity. And what happens is you also shouldn't assume they're going to remember. Even after you've documented and got approval, don't assume they remember. Do the continual reminder. So, for instance, let's say the agreement was, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it by then. And by the way, at that time, you're going to evaluate me and potentially give me a raise. Well, it's, as you first get the approval for that. And then, of course, um, as you get closer, oh, I'm getting closer to finishing this project. Let's say it's a 6 months project, 5 months down the road, we're 5 months into it. Remember, we're going to have a conversation afterwards. Once it gets done on time and it's good, we talked about doing the following. This is the conversation we're going to have. Just remind them, right? So in this particular case, you're documenting and you're reminding. Now, what happens if the integrity is that they are making promises to outside people that they're either not keeping or they don't let you know about? This is a little bit more difficult because I need to know the very specific question in mind. And what I'm going to say is just because your boss may lack integrity does not mean that you should follow their rules and lack integrity. So you can create a bubble within the environment that you live. And within that bubble, you can do the things that are right. And so if you have people working for you, you are creating an environment that you're doing the best for the people and you're staying true to the integrity to what you've said you were going to do. Once again, if you've made promises to do things to your people, you just need to make sure you document, and if those things require your boss's approval, you need to document after you're talking to your boss. This is what we're doing. This is what you agreed to. This is what I'm doing with my people. This is how we're going to move forward. Right? Where it gets interesting is I'm never a big fan of talking behind people's backs. I'm not a big fan of um, uh, submerging. I can't think of the right word, but going in and sort of targeting people because they're doing the wrong things. There is an exception, not about going behind somebody's back, but for me, we're all about. If you're about credibility, you're about servant leadership. You're about having the intent and commitment to do the right thing. And in cases where I may be working for or working with somebody, if they are actually blatantly doing things which could cause harm for the company, then I'll let people know. I would probably go to their boss and talk about it. You have to be prepared on situations like that, where it's possible it may not go well in your situation, particularly if the boss's boss also doesn't have integrity. Once again, coming down to myself and who I am and how I feel today, it'd be one of those things that I would make sure I go out of my way to do because I'd want to make sure I have integrity. Now, this is the point where as I mentioned, where it causes angst or problem or issues with customers that you're working with. If that happens, if your boss is actually has lack of integrity with the commitments they're making outside, that's a problem for the company more than just a problem for you. So how would I summarize this? I would say it's an open-ended question. How do you work for a boss that does not have integrity? Is it lack of integrity because they're absent-minded, or they're they were taught this way and they don't really think it's bad? These are things that you can address by having open-ended conversations with them, and making sure that you start acting as and being their accountability partner. If you now have been in the room and you've talked to them, and they've agreed to something and you document it, and then they still miss the deadline, there are choices. Um, you could cause the fight, or you could go elsewhere. Um, and those are two different choices. And based on your situation, you have to make decisions. The fight would be going elsewhere to a boss or HR. The That's never a fun way to go. It's better if you could work directly with a person directly. So it's kind of managing up if possible. If it truly is that they live on the dubious side and they're not leaving from that location, I would encourage you to find a place to go, find something else to do, something that would live in a world that you've created an environment for yourself, that you love who you are and you love what you do because you're getting recognition and you're working with people who really are credible. It's, what can I say? When you wake up in the morning and you love what you do, you're not working, you're having fun all day long. And I hope you found this useful. Appreciate the question. And I'm going to reflect on this one too. And I'd be curious to hear your feedback. Thanks again. Have yourself a great day. And that's good. Wait, sorry. Let me finish the recording. Hey, thanks again for watching this episode of Dear Credibility Expert. Feel free to ask questions. Spread some cred dust if you like the response. Click on the like button, share with your friends, and we'll see you at the next episode. Thanks so much. Take care. For those watching the recording live, thanks for paying attention. I'd love it. Either privately, publicly, send me a credibility question. Love to include it and address it in one of these sessions. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.